So welcome back to the channel. It's episode 2 of the XK8 build series. We've got a lot to cover in this episode, so let's get straight to it. Nick is now building the full exhaust for the XK8. As you can see, we do all of this exhaust fabrication in-house. On this particular XK8, we're actually doing a cat-back system, so we're going to use the original cast manifolds, and then later down the line when we do some further engine mods, we're going to add some tubular manifolds. So following on from the first episode where we completely rebuilt the front and rear axles, we're now going to fit those back into the XK. That then means we can fit the engine, transmission, prop shaft, etc. and get it to the next stage. We now have the completed three-way damper setup from Avo, so we can get these fitted to the vehicle, corner weight it, carry out the geometry and head up to Castle Combe. So we've rocked up at Castle Combe. It's the first time we've actually tested Jack's car, so we've got quite a lot to do today. Jack's obviously never driven it, so I suspect the first few sessions you'll be just getting used to it. We've obviously got brand new brakes, brand new dampers, brand new tyres, so we need to spend a fair bit of time this morning setting up the pedal box. So he's got remote biases, etc, so we need to adjust where the pedal box is, front to rear split, get that dialed in around him. We've got it kind of roughly where we're expecting it to be, but I suspect he'll probably tune that to suit himself. I'll probably jump in it after him as well and just make sure it's kind of where my car was and see if we can maximise the most out of that. We've also got new pads and disc all round, so we are going to have to bed those in first. Damper wise, the rear ends on the XKR are very similar to the saloon, so we've already got some really good setup on that. Front though, we don't have any idea where that's going to be. It's the first time we've obviously raced the XK. We've worked out some spring poundages, we've got some different springs with us so we can swap those out. So we've got the dampers pretty much in the middle ground. We've got a three-way adjustable damper on these from Avo. So we've got high speed and low speed adjustment and also rebound as well. So it's all in its middle ground setting, so we'll fine tune them out as we go through today. Weather's not looking great, unfortunately. I think it's going to be pretty much wet all day, but I don't think that's going to bother us too much. We don't want to push the car too much straight away. Obviously being a new engine as well, we need to run that in, so I'm going to spend a fair bit of time data logging and I'll talk you through it as we go today. So Jack's done 2 or 3 sessions now. We did get a little bit of dry time on track, so we've managed to bed tyres and brakes. We've got the pedal box now set up. We are struggling with rear grip, so we've taken the rear roll bar off and I've just taken some bump settings out of the rear just to soften it down, especially with it being so greasy. So yeah, testing's all going well. Car feels really, really good considering it's the first time out. So we're just going to keep plodding away and try and get as much data as we can. I've just had a look through the logs, happy with everything that's going on there, so yeah, going well so far. So here at Combe, been testing the XK at Combe, so done a couple sessions now, just at testing with the XK, really starting to kind of get the hang of it. We played around with some brake settings, we're starting to lock up a little bit, so we messed around with that. It's getting a little bit greasy out there, so we took off the roll bar and we're going to sort of play around with that and see how we get on. Is that alright?
Really wasn't that hard, was it, mate?
It was!
It wasn't that hard,
It was hard.
It really wasn't difficult.
It was. Nick passes out. So a bit of a debrief from Castle Combe. Unfortunately the day got cut short because there was some damage to the fencing, so we didn't get as much done as we'd hoped. We didn't try any of the different spring poundages that we had with us, but actually it was quite a productive morning. We managed to get the brakes set up. We've got a really good basic suspension set up. We've got a couple of little niggles that we've got to sort for Silverstone. We've got about 4 or 5 days to get that completed. The rear arches were scrubbing on the rear tyres, which is a bit of a shame because the car's just been painted. So that'll go to the body shop just to get the arches rolled. But considering it's a brand new car and everything is new, it went really, really well. And I'm actually quite impressed with how balanced the car is. As we explained previously, we've spent a huge amount of time getting the weight right and getting the weight exactly where we want it. And driving it is seriously noticeable straight away. So we're really happy with that. We've gone with one spring option in the front. Like I said, we didn't have time to try the other options we had, but I think we've got enough of Silverstone to go out there and try and get a good result. So following on from testing at Castle Combe, we're up at Silverstone doing a full GP for first round of Classic Touring Car. So we've got one qualifier tomorrow and one race, which is Saturday, and then on the Sunday we've got one race. So testing didn't quite go as planned, as we didn't get as much done really as we hoped at Combe. So it's a new car. It's going to be the first time Jack's going to be out in it. The weather's looking pretty wet, so it'll be interesting. We know we've got a fairly good wet setup because that's all we had to do at Combe. We didn't get a chance to try any of the dry setup, so there's a possibility that race 1 might be dry, but who knows? It's raining at the moment, so we'll see what we can do. So that's qualifying over and done with. All 4 cars qualified. Looks like Jack qualified P1, which is an absolute mega result for the first time out in the XK. Really relieved that there was no issues. We're going to spanner check the cars now, check all the damper settings, and I'm not sure if it's going to be wet this afternoon for race 1, but it was a drying track, which was pretty tricky conditions for him in quali. So let's see what the weather's going to do, and we'll set the cars up accordingly. What's it like?
Mate, it's fucking wet out there.
Yeah, that's fair. Is it? What did the dampers feel like though?
I was just pushing on a lot on the front.
On the front?
Yeah, like loads,
So,
and then so much oversteer. So it was like,
oh, so you're getting both?
Yeah.
Oversteer and understeer?
yeah, like ridiculous.
What, high speed or low speed corner?
I suppose it's kind of high speed corner.
So it pushes the front on and then the back lets go, does it?
Tries to, yeah.
Okay. So there's obviously more to come. What did the engine feel like?
Yeah, it felt right. The only thing where I was loading it in the gears, you know, that little hesitation.
Yeah.
There was just that. Obviously, where I'm in like 6, just cruising around. But enough.
I'll look at the logs and
Yeah,
see.
that's the only thing. Like I say, it just does and then it like lights it up. So,
Okay. Alright.
yeah, it's a bit snappy.
Yeah, well we can soften the rear off more. But it depends if it's dry and
It
yeah.
was like really, there was so much oil everywhere as well.
Yeah. But the brakes felt good.
Brakes felt good, yeah.
No, still had the roll bar on, but I softened the rear end a fair bit, so you had a bit more roll. But obviously, because it was drying, really with the roll bars off, it's like full wet. So it was that balance really. But yeah, we took a bit of bump out the rear end and slowed the damper at the low rate down. So, but yeah, we'll see if it dries. It looks like it's going to, doesn't it? And then we'll decide on setup. How did yours feel? Apart from twitchy.
I did a lovely 360 in a bit. Honestly.
Did you notice any difference with the tyres? It's hard to say.
It's hard to say because it was just
So slippery, yeah. You're only going to end up with about 6 laps. Tomorrow's 5 minutes longer, so you'll get an extra lap. But yeah, just keep an eye on the splits. But I think it'll take a lap to get tyres on because I've dropped them. And obviously we've increased the rebound on the front, so try and focus on understeer, see how that is, and then I can adjust the suit.
I think it'd be alright.
If it is still understeering, though, try and like concentrate on if the car's rolling excessively, because if not, we're gonna have to look at bump settings. But yeah, no, enjoy. What was the dampers feel like?
Kind of feels a bit too soft, to be honest.
What, on the front or rear?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, when you said about leaning on the thing, it feels.
What, just front?
Yeah.
That's interesting because we're like on the lower side of the setting, so we can go up quite a lot. Well, I thought that the supercharged one was going to catch you, and then you just sort of knuckled down and went.
Yeah.
Did the tyres last? They started going off, did they?
Yeah, it was quite bad. Yeah, safety car was fast.
Yeah, it was going quite quick.
Mate, literally, I couldn't keep up. I was going. Like,
I was. That's what I was going to. Bunch up because.
Yeah, but then because they didn't do any. I wasn't close enough when the safety car light went out.
Yeah.
And then I was literally like 3-4 lengths back, and then I started catching that.
Yeah, because that's why I was flashing to say bunch the gap up, because then you can make.
It was so hard to keep.
That was good. I'll just take that panel off. And what about the hesitation?
Still there.
Still there?
Yeah. I find I really struggle on the throttle just with how sensitive it is when I'm pulling hard, like on the bumps and stuff.
Right, as in you're like, I can adjust that.
Okay, if we could just.
That's not a mapping issue though. That's like a pedal position.
Yeah, that's it. If we could just.
But what about the actual hesitation?
Seem to kind of still do it.
Right. So just come back in from race 1, had an absolutely brilliant result. It dropped back to 3rd. At Silverstone, it was almost like we didn't quite have the power on the straight. So it was dry. We had a full dry circuit, so we put a basic dry setup in there. I'll be honest, it does need a little bit more work, so I'm confident that we can find time. We've got the race 2 tomorrow, but looking at the weather forecast, it's going to be wet tomorrow, so I think we're going to be back on the wet setup. But really, really pleased how kind of 6 weeks ago this was almost a bare shell. We've got it here, it's working, and it's got the pace. It's a really, really good car. There's a lot of work on our kind of side of things to get Jack used to the car, get the right setup, and understand exactly what the car needs, but out of the box it's really good, and we're really pleased with that result. So it's Sunday morning, it's about an hour to the second race. As you can probably see, it's absolutely pouring down with rain, so we're just setting the cars up for a wet session, changing the rear roll bars, softening down the dampers, making a few tweaks. We made a couple of mods to the car yesterday. We spent a few hours data logging Jack's car. There was a couple of areas that there was just small hesitation, so we've hopefully smoothed that out. Just pumping up the tyres as well, see what we can do. And yeah, we'll give you an update after race 2. There's definitely going to be a lot of sitting water, so I think it's going to be pretty challenging, but I'm hoping that in the wet he's got a better chance at running at the front anyway, because I know that V12 will be pretty hard to keep in a straight line. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with the setup as well, because we tested that at Coombe. So yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah. Stay away and look for sitting water on the outside, run wide, V off any corner basically. And I've also just made a couple of tweaks on the map to smooth it out low down. So I'm hoping, yeah, load it up in a high gear, stay out of the red line really, if you can. Right on the bias, maybe give it 2 or 3 turns down, so right, so that'll give you more rear brakes. Yeah, righty-tighty. That will give you more rear brake. So if you're locking the fronts a lot, just twist down on that bias. I've already given it a little bit more rear brake, but I didn't want to go too mad until you drive it. So the clutch has gone on Damien's. Just sat there waiting to go out, goes to select first gear, and so yeah, that's not a good start, but the other 3 cars have gone out, so looks like it stopped raining. There's been a few other sessions out, so hopefully there's not as much sitting water. They're rapid. he's out in front. Go on, son! He's on pole, baby! The only like proper setup we've got for the car, yeah, is wet. So, like in the dry yesterday, it was just too soft. So. That's race 2 over and done with. Yeah, managed pole. He's an absolute belter of a race, to be fair to him. Car held up the whole way. As I said, like, we were really happy with the wet setup on this car. We haven't got the dry setup finalised, so to have a chance to use that today, it was raining the whole way, and he just, like I say, started third, got up into pole. Seaborn for the last 3 or 4 laps was pressuring him, but just couldn't reel the gap eventually, and Jack managed to pull the lead. So really happy. Like after 3 months building the car, having it out the first round and getting such a good result, couldn't have wanted any more than that really. We were hoping for a top 5 and we managed a third and a pole today. So Jack's first third position overall and his first overall all on the same weekend. So yeah, cracking start to the year. Still some work to do, so we'll obviously load all the cars up. Damien had a few issues, so looks like we're going to have to do a clutch on that for Brands. Joe had his first ever race. He did really well, got 2 solid finishes. Silverstone probably didn't suit the standard car. Obviously you need a bit of power at this place, so he didn't really get a chance to have a proper race, but at least he got 2 solid finishes. And Andrew had an absolute blinder. Car's been completely repainted over the winter. We rebuilt the axle on that, and he had 2 solid results as well, and he was really going well today. So yeah, cracking start to the season. Looking forward to Brands.